Hey everybody, welcome in to the Letterman Lounge. You know what time it is. It's Monday. Ohio State just won another football game. It's time for Letterman Live. We are in Columbus, Ohio, in Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint. You'd never know it with the paper in these baskets, though, Nicole. I'm getting, weird
different
You
vibes.
guys, it's always a surprise here. It's just, we're just making do with what we are delivered.
That's always
So, this was a surprise to me as well, and we're just going to make the best of it.
I wanted to just get it out there right in the open because I can feel like
People are gonna be at home
Is this going to
looking at it.
happen? Are we going to talk about this paper? Let's just
Well,
rip
next
the
week
Band-Aid
it's
off
going
right
to
now.
be next week it'll be the sports pages of the newspaper.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe the letters to the editor. That's Justin Zwick, Nicole Cox, and Bobby Carpenter. I'm Austin Ward. We're going to leave this seat open for our guy, Jeremy Birmingham. He's at home dealing with some family situations.
Yes.
Our thoughts and prayers are with that entire family. They lost a great woman on Saturday when he got back from the game. There's no easy segue from that, but our thoughts are with our buddy as they go through that. And he will be back soon enough after they lay her to rest. So we're thinking about you. We miss you.
Yep.
And we had a lot to discuss after that game. It was 66-17 for the Buckeyes, Bob. And we said 4 weeks ago, this is the expectation. You got to win these games. They were going to win them almost no matter what happened. But Ryan Day said he wanted to see progress. We've talked about that every single week. I certainly think that Ohio State has shown that.
Oh, they've definitely have shown it. And we're always kind of it's interesting because you always try to qualify it with the opponent. Like, what does progress mean? All right, it's Akron. You're like, well, it's Rutgers, but they're a little bit better. Now it's okay. This is Maryland, a Maryland team who, obviously was coming in without Dante Demas, so the receiving core was a little bit lighter than what it would have been. And they were very good to start the season. Then they obviously take another hit during the game with that. So there was Maryland team, though, that was pretty talented, at least at the skill position wise. So you were going to look at that defensively. Like, could you slow these guys down? Would you give up some of the big plays? And I always look at that like, you know what? There's going to be a big play you probably give up, especially in a game where it starts to get stretched and you lose a little bit of focus. Because let's face it, not every snap is like ultra critical when you start to get up and you feel like your offense, just scored in 3 plays.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's too easy for them.
You'll probably keep doing that.
Did anyone touch Travion on that swing pass? Just weaving around looks like me playing football with my kids in the backyard. But I thought the defense has really made strides. Obviously, the defensive line has gotten better and better. And you know what happens because of that? Kind of trickles down. Linebackers look good. 3 leading tacklers: Chambers, Eichenberg, and Simon. Taraja's right there.
4 of the top 5 you can throw in
with
there.
Hickman right there. And that's kind of how it should be. You don't want your corners being your leading tacklers. Your D-line really shouldn't be. Maybe you have a guy in there who has a lot of tackles for loss or gets involved in some stuff, but it should be kind of your linebackers and your strong safety overhang players that are involved, because that means structurally your defense is playing well. And so you saw that. You saw pretty good play on the perimeter. Safeties are starting to look better. They start to feel like they're more comfortable now showing and moving around and playing multiple coverages. And then the offense, when CJ's on and the offensive line is blocking people, that's what it's going to look like. I didn't think they'd crack 60. I mean, you informed me that they probably wanted to crack 100, and maybe they could have even went if they really would have gassed down.
That score prediction on Morning Juice on Friday was pretty good.
It was impressive.
Whoever that guy was.
It was impressive.
He knows what he's talking about.
Austin, but you look at that, what else? There's nothing else in that game outside of maybe pitching a shutout that you could say, you know what, this team really needs to work on. There's small little things that they're going to need to continue to tweak. But I feel like from the last 3 weeks, the defense has come leaps and bounds. And then CJ's development and his comfortability back there in the pocket, I think, has increased dramatically as well.
And Nicole tracks the point spreads every
does.
single week. And you look at this, so no matter what, we talk about, Rutgers, well, that was, 16.5, and then Maryland's it's like Vegas still knew that the talent disparity was there, but they had to prove it, or the public was bringing that number down. I mean, they covered it again with ease, Nicole, so that has to count for something.
Absolutely. And I think I've enjoyed watching this season with these guys, because if they're just great all the time, it's always great to win. It's always, but if they're just, smashing other teams and just, it's not as exciting to watch.
Yeah.
At least for me, I like watching these guys grow. I like watching CJ from game 1 to now and just seeing his confidence and to see all of their confidence as a team grow. It's exciting.
Yeah, you can get bored with winning every single week.
Well, you can.
And there's complacency that sets in.
It might just be me. Do you guys feel that way? I mean,
Well, I feel like now they're playing as if the way we thought they were going to start the season. we had heard that CJ basically was going to be the guy, and it turned into that, and then it kind of looked like he wasn't the guy there early on, and all of a sudden, miraculously, his shoulder's healed, and he looks like
He said supernatural.
Yeah, I know.
healing.
I know. I saw that, and I was like, man, what was wrong with that shoulder? It's just bugging me. I got to know. But, he looks like a totally different quarterback, and, each week you say, all right, well, Akron. Well, it was Akron. All right, next week we should see, Rutgers look like they're a pretty balanced team. And so you just keep saying, all right, and then we did it to them. And like, wow, were they that good or were they not that good? And then, well, Maryland, first, defense that's going to be ranked in the top 25 nationally, averaging 7 tackles for loss. Like, they look like a team that maybe had a defense that we would really see. Mm-hmm. And then we go and put it on them. So it's like, man, were they maybe not that good, or are we really rolling? And I think we are rolling. And, Bob talked about the defense and how they've going against a team like that, they're going to score points, right, Bob? You just know that's going to happen. You're not going to shut those guys out. However you say his name.
Tito, that's what I
had been crushing it, right? Without the Iowa game, he had been playing really well. You knew you were going to put up some, yards through the air, and they just did enough that it's just a whole different team to me offensively when CJ is looking the way he is, because it's been incredible.
I think there has to be a part of this too. Like, we knew going into that 4-game stretch that Ohio State was going to be favored in all of them, that they needed to win them all. That's the baseline expectation for this program. But to take the broader view and look at the way college football is works every year, but especially this year, there's really, like, okay, if you're going to play comparative scores, almost everybody's losing. Alabama just lost as a multiple touchdown favorite to a backup quarterback at Texas A&M. You guys know, and I've covered this long enough, and Nicole's been watching college football long enough to know that it's hard to win football games. So the way Ohio State is winning them is significant. Obviously, you have to win them if you're going to be a Big Ten champion down the road, but I don't know that we should discount the opponents
I agree.
as much as
as we would have in the past.
Yeah, but especially just because what else can they do? They have to play those games, and whatever you do, you take it at face value.
Does the game look like you expect it to? And that's what I've seen the last 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. The game looked like it expected to. Like Tulsa, was it 42, 41, 21? I mean, it was like 3 scores, but it was 20. It was 27.
It was a 7-point ball game in the fourth quarter. So that did not look like we expected it to.
No,
right?
You didn't have that feeling where.
And then you start thinking like, oh man, maybe we aren't there.
And that's it. So then next week against Rutgers, like, shot out of a cannon. Mm-hmm. Okay, feel good. Defense holds up. They don't give up any trash stuff.
Score,
Yeah, and they're doing all that, and then the same thing happens against Maryland. So like, that's what you've expected to see. So they've done all they can really do in those games. I mean, and let's be honest now, despite what we may think some of the talent is going to be at some of these other schools, you saw obviously Bama, lose. Oklahoma gets pushed to the brink by Texas. I mean, they probably should have lost that game. They didn't. I mean, Stanford just gets boat raced. I mean, the Pac-12 is a mess.
Clemson falling off the
but all those things happening, and then you look at like the Big Ten. There's 5 teams ranked in the top 10, and there's 4 teams ranked in the East in the top 10. So there is a national perception for the first time, I think, in a while, that there's like high-quality depth at the top of this conference. And it only is kind of substantiated by watching other things happen around the rest of college football. Like, well, Iowa really can't throw the ball, but you know what? Georgia really doesn't either.
Yeah.
They're
in the SEC.
Yeah, but they say that. It's like, all right, well, they beat Auburn, and like Auburn's not great. Penn State kind of handled it. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff you look around, you're like, I don't really see any teams that – it was supposed to be Bama.
Yeah.
That was like clearly better than everybody else. And Nick Saban's calling it a trap game. Like, you thought to get his team excited.
Yes.
And then ultimately, like, if it is a trap game and you identify it as a trap game, can it still be the trap game?
It's not supposed to be a trap then if you can see it.
And the thing
it's not a very good trap anymore.
Against Bama, like, they already were in the trap. They came back out of it, got the lead, 38-31. Then you think, all right, like, A&M's fired all their bullets in the can. Like, they got nothing left. And then they seize the victory back, and Bama, like, stumbles and bubbles it away. And it was crazy. It's like, when I watch all that, I'm like, all right, 66-17, nice. Yeah. Like, I don't know what else you could ask for.
I think it was a good time for that to happen because, like, everything else, all the chaos that happened the rest of the day, you're like, you almost forgot what Ohio State did. It's like, hey, they're right back in the mix of this.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the mix. Or you could be Ed Orgeron at LSU just getting smoked by Kentucky.
I'm surprised.
Talking about putting people in the marsh.
I'm surprised that they let him leave the tarmac with his job. To be quite honest,
He's done after
Yeah,
this
the
year.
Wildcats are on a roll, baby.
Here's the thing.
Stoopsy's got them going.
I
down
love
there.
Stoopsy.
Uh-huh.
And here's the thing, though, in the SEC. Kentucky is essentially kind of like Purdue or Indiana in the SEC. LSU, just like Ohio State, I don't care how high they're ranked.
Yeah.
I know we have better players than them, and it should never look like that. Like, we can accept a loss every now, but it should never look like that. And so that's why, I mean, he's done. It's not me calling for him to be fired. Like,
it's just a fact.
I don't know, unless he beats Alabama or something crazy happens, which based upon how they're playing is zero chance of happening, he's going to be on his way out.
All right, let's get it back to the Buckeyes. It's time for our Roosters Buckeye leaves from another game where limitless buffet of options to get it through. Yeah, kind of like coming in on an appetizer Tuesday and getting some fried mushrooms, Jay-Z's personal
Or a
favorite.
surprise.
Or a
surprise.
Is it another
Yeah.
surprise this week?
Well, no,
Possible?
it's just I think just
They have
we're just
enough- they
going
have
to say
enough of
for
the
the rest of
mushrooms.
the year that some stores will receive the fried mushrooms in their deliveries, some stores may not. So then they'll come up with a different appetizer for
There
the
you go.
Tuesday appetizer. So it's really
Kind of like a crapshoot.
we just are, we appreciate everybody
love it.
just kind of going with the flow as we deal with
Hey,
these
$2
supply
apps you
issues.
can't beat no matter what they
Yeah,
are, right?
they'll still
I mean,
be $2.
yeah.
So we're making sure that the guests still win.
And Jay-Z, right? It should just be anything if you say Letterman.
Well, I don't know.
It should be the Letterman Lounge discount.
Just going to keep
Austin, I love that idea, but I just don't think that's going to work.
Well, I have an idea, man.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Nicole, on a more serious note.
Yes.
The Roosters is giving the Buckeye Bowl giveaway here. There's
They are?
one winner every week,
Every
two
week.
tickets, airfare, deluxe hotel
Sign up every
accommodations.
week.
Yep, they get to
This
bring
is
a
a
guest.
bye week, so will there be an event winner chosen this week, or is it only
No,
on game
it's
week?
only
It's
on game
on.
week.
Oh,
So,
okay.
But you can still register
You guys
this
asked
week.
me too fast.
There's only 12 winners, so I would think that the bye week is a bye week for Roosters.
yes, it is. Okay, yes.
Good call.
I didn't know if we had an
You're-
extra. Yeah.
Your numbers guy down.
I'm like, all the years blend together, but yes, usually it's the bye week is 2 weeks of registrations.
Yeah.
Like,
So still
registration
register.
names.
There
Yeah,
just won't be a winner polled this
Yep.
weekend like there typically is.
correct.
And Ohio State is one win away from bowl
Yes,
eligibility.
you will
I
be
know.
going to a
Almost.
bowl, I think. Fingers
Yes.
crossed.
They might get there, and thanks to who, Nicole? Because who caught your eye on Saturday in the blowout?
Well, you're going to be shocked by this, Austin.
We going to Schlegeltown or what?
No, you're just going to be shocked because I'm going to go back to my roots
Let me-
of
Chris Olave.
It is?
Ooh,
my guy.
How about that?
It's my guy. I just love watching him play. He is absolutely amazing. That play, when it was the defensive pass interference, and
Oh, what a-
he's. I just even as a normal person, I can't walk and do things at the same time. So for him to be able to be flying through the end zone and then be able to pay attention to what, where the ball was, get his body to slow down and bobble the ball and still catch it
With
and make
another
the touchdown.
guy holding him.
Yeah. I mean, that
Dudes
is
holding dudes.
unbelievable to me. And just in general, he's a great route runner. He is just great with being aware of everything around him, whether it's, stepping out of bounds or catching that ball off the, defensive back. So he's just amazing. And he's got the most precious smile. He just looks like a great kid.
He is a great kid.
Yeah.
And the
Very
last,
quiet, too.
Since that,
Elite.
to think back to that Tulsa game and what they did, dropping 8 into coverage and no catch and a drop in that one. And I've told this story elsewhere, but I saw him in there in the Woody. The last couple weeks, he just added an extra throwing session. Not that he needs the work; he's always one of the hardest working guys on the team. But
I love that.
to add to Nicole's affinity for Chris Olave, just going in there for 30 more minutes on the jugs machine and throwing
That's
with
the
T. Scott Jr.
best.
Like bonus work,
Yep.
Bonus.
and look at the results.
I love the person that stays after or comes in
Comes
early.
early.
I mean, there's something to be
grinder,
said.
Bob.
for
I mean,
that.
he's up to what for the years or for his career? Is it 29 now?
29 touchdowns.
So he's got to get to 34.
I think there's a pretty good.
I think there is. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
on Saturday I was thinking about that.
I'm
There's
so
just so
excited.
many
I gotta keep an eye.
weapons
Yeah.
that who knows when it's going to be his time. And then he went out and got 2. And it's just like, man, that record is definitely in reach.
When you're scoring 9
Well,
touchdowns
fair,
a game,
yeah.
there's enough touchdowns.
When
to go
the
around.
only series you don't score on when you're taking a knee, that's got to help a little bit.
I've
right?
got this. I've got the stats here. Keep talking, James.
So-
He was what?
The numbers for the 3 of these guys.
He had
absolutely
7 for like
insane.
120, didn't he, Olave?
So I have a question. If we get to the last game, do the 34 touchdowns, does that include the
Bowl
bowl
game,
game?
yeah.
It does. Okay. So if we get down to the last game, even though it's a team sport and no one wants to, just for their own stats,
Well,
they need to talk about. But would they try to
Well-
make sure he got the ball to reach it?
I would imagine.
I'm sure they
It
would have a
be
couple plays.
absolutely stunning to me if it got that far. I
think it's going to be done in 3 weeks.
probably by November 5th, I think he'll have it. I think I'm going to do it off the top of my head.
Guys, what are we going to do for him? I feel like we have to send him Roosters food or
Well,
something. That would be just
He-
so cool.
He has a standing invitation as well.
Ooh, yeah.
Some of these guys that were going to come that we've talked about, they're going to be on Letterman Live this year. There's well, let's maybe take a step back from name, image, and likeness just briefly after the Oregon loss. I promise that's still going to happen. But we took a little bit of a breather on that. Let them focus on football. JZ, I think it's I wrote it this morning. I think it's 84 catches, 1,400 yards, and 13 touchdowns for those top
Between the
three.
three. Jeez.
There's nothing. I just have never seen anything like it. And people were still bringing this up on Saturday night. Oh, Jameson Williams is so good. Just imagine if you put that in this offense. Well,
Where's he fit?
he wouldn't have started for Ohio State. That's why he left after spring. It wasn't.
Yeah.
He knew what the situation was, what those other three guys can do. Jameson Williams is really freaking good, really good.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be a first-round draft pick. But those other three guys,
They're
just
gonna
is
be
what it
them
is.
too. They'll
Yeah.
be first-round draft picks too.
Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a class.
and then Emeka
They all come out
Egbuka on
together.
top of
Oh,
that. And
well.
I don't know who.
Well, you just led me
I know
right
there-
into. You
I
just
know
led
there
me
was
right
some talk
into.
about Buckeye leaves. I'm not trying to steal I'm just predicting what it might come.
Well, I did have to go to you for a
Well, that's
pronunciation of the last name.
I'm
'cause I don't.
I like to observe things.
Yeah, so I'm going Emeka. I think we've been waiting for a return specialist, and
Just 11.
I mean,
years
the
without
guy-
a kickoff return for touchdown.
the guy had 4 for 160 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, having that threat back there. I mean, I want to see him in the offense as well. A little harder to get that, get those reps, but man, to have a guy back there who has the confidence to really take it and have that ability to take it to the house, which it looked like on a couple of those he was going to get real close to. I think that changes the game. It doesn't change the game, but it's really, really, really nice to have.
Especially if that offense only
well,
needs to go
yes.
30 yards.
No doubt about it.
Good luck to you.
You're getting them on the 40, 50-yard line. I mean, that's huge for an offense. I'm just picking up that confidence, and you're able to take a shot at over the top right away, when you're at midfield type thing. But I think that's huge, so he gets my Buckeye leaf for this week.
Okay, specialist. I
I'm
love
going to
it.
go with a guy who we've talked about a lot. I had a chance to meet his dad. And, he's played well every week. It's just a little bit of a season accumulation award, and he did play well. I believe he was the third leading tackler with 6 or 7. I'm going to go throw a sack in there. I mean,
Sounds like
rockin' Ronnie Hickman.
Ronnie.
Oh,
Hickman.
that's back-to-back weeks for
Ronnie.
old Ronnie.
Rockin' Ronnie, man. He's playing well. He does it all. Great kid, elite human being. He's a lot bigger than what you think,
Yeah,
man.
he is.
A lot bigger than what you think for a guy who's the hybrid safety, move him around, do some stuff. He's a physical player. He's really smart. He's got a great head on his shoulders, and I just really enjoy watching him play, man. He played. I feel like he's kind of a throwback dude that plays, could have played 15, 20 years ago and still been fine just because he's so physical, he's so smart, directing traffic back there. And a lot more has been forced on his plate with, Josh Proctor being, out for the season. And so he's taken it. He came in, he was injured. He's, embraced all that, gotten to where he needs to be now, and looks really good and is playing at a really high level.
Nicole, wouldn't it be awesome if you were cool enough that somebody gave you a nickname like Rocket and they just replaced your first name with it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
In the post-game press conference, they were talking about Hickman, and they're just casually just calling him Rocket. I'm like, man, how cool would that be?
Oh, yeah. That'd be like a bucket list.
What would
thing.
yours be?
You asked me too quick. Asked me way too quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have a nickname growing up?
Nikki.
No,
No. okay.
I didn't. I know.
I really
I'm not
ruined-
special.
I really ruined this segment, but it's cool.
What was your
I do
nickname?
think it's awesome.
A Ward?
Well, I had a lot. None of them ever really stuck for long.
No.
Some teammates called me Ozzy, and I never really figured out where it came from. But I guess it was just awesome.
Big Ozzy Osbourne fan growing up?
No,
No.
didn't bite off many.
No,
heads of
that's
But yeah, A-Dub, AJ, those things were around for a while, but there wasn't any natural fit for me. Jay-Z is just so much
Jay-Z's
cooler.
just easy. It's
Yeah.
And some
Hove made it popular.
he took it from
Yeah, he liked
Took it
it, so he took
mainstream.
it, and he took it mainstream.
Bob. What else did they call you?
Bobby is a nickname.
Oh, okay.
My real name's Robert, so that's kind of.
Oh, wow. That's where that comes from.
Oh, it's,
There's a few, but
yeah. There's a
didn't
couple
have-
other not safe for work.
yeah, we won't get into those.
Well, we can say whatever we want. And let 'em
I don't think in Schlegel, for the
Schleg's
longest
Schleg's
time.
his
I have to like
wife.
remind myself of like his first name.
No, he's like Oprah. He's like
Yeah,
one
it's just
Yeah.
a name.
Yeah.
Yeah, Schlegs.
His wife calls him Schlegs.
Yeah.
She
Which
does,
is- oh,
yeah.
It's real. Real life.
And she's a Schlegs too.
Yeah.
So,
She is a Schleg.
Mrs. Schlegs talking to Schlegs.
that's a great one. Another guy with a very cool name, Steele Chambers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, I thought Bob was going
I
to
thought
give
he
that
was-
Buckeye leaf to
I
him.
thought he was too.
I was hyping him up last week. I mean, you got to spread around the love.
What he did, 7 tack. He leads Ohio State, tied for the team lead with 7 tackles and a sack. Another great play when he's reading the screen and diagnosing it through the block. That was one of the overlooked best plays of the game, I think. And Zach Bourne was texting me right away, like, we
Oh,
got to talk
jeez.
about this on you.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, my God.
this guy did not play linebacker in spring. We've said for 3 years that's where he should play. That's the best fit for him. He didn't want to do it. Finally makes the choice. So he's been doing this for 2 months, Bob, playing this position, and it's not the smoothest thing to learn. It didn't look the smoothest for the first month maybe, but man, the way he's playing now in this upward trajectory. I mean, Cody Simon's playing well. Tommy Eichenberg's really coming along. Taraja Mitchell.
They're all playing better. You know why? Because they're getting experience.
Oh, does that help?
I've
But-
heard it does.
Does this impress you more? Like, having played the position, like, it's not an easy one to play.
It bothers me when people receive undue criticism. I'll be the first to sit here and say it wasn't good enough what they were doing, but it also wasn't like they've been doing it for 3 years and haven't gotten any better either. And there was some disruption and things around them that weren't being done at a high level. And so all of a sudden, the line starts playing better. These guys get 3 or 4 games under their belts. Hey, they look like they deserve and belong to be out there.
Okay.
By the way, like we're talking, Steele hadn't even played linebacker much before. Cody had been nursing an injury. Taraja, sat behind guys.
Yep.
And so playing in games is different, meaningful minutes. Tommy battled injury. Like all these guys had been kind of in and out. And so now they're finally in there. They feel comfortable in their scheme. The defensive line's playing well. And you watch how aggressive they are. And it's like if I had to see any more numbers, like, hey, look at these guys. They're playing all these snaps and not making any tackles and this and that. And like, hey, just be patient. And now they're 3 of the 4 leading tacklers in the game.
Yep.
And you throw your strong safety in there. Like that's how it should look for a defense. Your linebackers and your strong safety should be your leading tacklers, not your corners. So that means they're catching too many balls. You're getting to the second level, not your defensive linemen and different things. They're chasing stuff down. It should be those guys because that's how it should structurally fit.
Nicole, what else was in your notebook on Saturday?
Nicole's notes.
Yeah, I was just impressed. I was just impressed with how they are really coming together as a team. So, like Bobby said, I think it's hard work that has gotten them there and the experience. I mean, some of these guys, taking into consideration weather and a full stadium playing in front, of all of those people, there's something to be said for that. There are just things that happen on game day that you can't practice.
Since Berm is not here, I'm going to give his Buckeye leaf, which I know he would have done, which was to pull at Nicole's heartstrings, which is Kerry Coombs. I
thought about that.
He was
today.
one of the last ones out of the locker room, so I came down from the press conference. I saw him out there. He was getting, 4 big boxes of food to take to the 8 grandkids, and he's not thrilled with the situation. Just going to lay that on the
But
table.
he's such a positive guy.
I know. So it's weird to see him not smiling. So that part is hard for him. He's coaching with the same intensity. His role is not the same, and I think that Ohio State wanted to pay tribute in some way to the work he's doing because they know this hasn't worked out the way he wanted it to, and so they gave him the game ball in the locker room. You could tell it kind of meant a lot to Ryan Day to do that. He's very close with Kerry Coombs. That's why this thing worked out the way it did. Where there was really no other option candidate when they went to replace that role 2 years ago. And so he came down and he had the game ball in that backpack. He's loading up to go see the kids and said, man, I hope that people can pay attention to what you've done here. A lot of these cornerbacks, a guy like Denzel Burke would not be at Ohio State if it weren't for Kerry Coombs and that recruiting impact. The corners are playing much better.
Yeah.
Sevin Banks is turning that corner. If Cam Brown could catch an injury break once in a while, that'd be significant. He's still helping upstairs. He didn't pout. He may not like the way that this worked out, and there's disappointment to that, obviously. But he didn't say, well, I'm leaving, I'm quitting on this. If you're going to demote me, I'm out of here. And, we've seen players do that already this season, just pack up and leave when it didn't work their way. He didn't do that. So Kerry Coombs is part of this staff. He's doing the work that they're asking him to do as well as he can. Again, may not love it, but,
He is, and
True professional.
I think his role is more than just, him being the defensive coordinator. He's a leader, and his energy is contagious. There's something you need that in a team, and whether, it's like CEOs, they may delegate all the work to everyone below them, but if they're just walking around pumping you up, and you need that person, and I feel like Kerry brings that to the team, and just the fact that he didn't quit on it, like he cares about the team, and he's just a great guy.
So I'll say this because I'm very fond of Kerry, and Matt's doing a great job too. And not to I think that changes would have been made schematically, and with the defense maybe look similar to what it looks like now. After guys start experience, you get the right guys on the field, things start happening. Maybe not. But I do know this: when you're like in a moment of turmoil and crisis, and you're asking people to do different things, and some of those things may be different than what they signed up for, and they may not necessarily appreciate it. And you're preaching toughness and role responsibility and dedication to the team. It's really, really hard to get player buy-in with that when you see a coach who that just happened to, if they don't buy in.
Right.
And so I would argue that over the last 3 weeks, with everything that we've seen happen and all the stuff that's happened on the sideline and guys leaving and roles kind of changing, some guys playing more, some guys playing less, the fact that this team is where it is right now is probably as much to do with Kerry Coombs and how he has handled this as anybody else, because those guys have looked at him and they realize that he shows up every day. He's been the same. He's been a team player. He does whatever they ask him to do. He's not crying. He's not pouting. He's not trying to undermine everyone else. And so when you see that, and you watch it out of a guy who Kerry's a Buckeye, man. Like, don't think for a second. I mean, outside of being the head coach at Ohio State, that's probably the next thing on his list was being the defensive coordinator at Ohio State University. And, not to be able to call plays and kind of have it shifted around on him, it would be easy to go in the hole. And he didn't do it. Yep. And so those guys look at that. And so when he asks the guy, hey, or maybe play a little bit less this week because that's what's best for the team, the guys have a hard time pushing back on a guy like Kerry when he says that.
Right.
Yeah, I think that locker room could have went a lot of different ways, and it may even had, still, with some of the things that have happened. But, I think Bob hit it on the head. The way he's handled himself, just showing up to work, being that guy who loves the team and wants to help the team, do anything he can to do that. The players definitely saw that, and I'm sure they appreciate it because it had to be real strange that first week where it's like, hold on.
And that's the game that we've talked about. It was close with Tulsa. What's happened since then? I mean, it wasn't going to look into place right away.
Yeah, he's a big part of, everybody's going to want to give, Barnes all the credit for calling the plays and this and that. But I think Kerry, being the way he has or handling it the way he has, and who knows how much he's giving in the game.
It's collaborative.
100%, and it is. So one guy's going to get it because, the change happened and this and that, but he's still there and still, plugging away, and it's
he makes a real impact.
A big part of why the team is where it's at right now.
Yeah.
In those kids' lives from just how motivational he is. Yep. And I think that they need that from the coaching staff. They all have their, specialties, and they each weigh each other out. So it's good.
Yeah. All right. Well said by all three of you. Fried mushrooms or TBD.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or TBD.
Or surprise.
$2 appetizers tomorrow.
Yeah.
$2
appetizers.
And
that is consistent.
2 weeks to get registered for the next Roosters Bowl
giveaway.
Yes,
register every day.
Every day, don't miss it. And then there's some colorful paper just to keep you off balance. But the menus, I promise, are the same in Letterman Lounge. Will look the same if you come down here on Owen Tangent.
And it looks the same on the big screen at the stadium, which I got to see our famous host.
I don't know where that
on the big screen in Letterman Lounge. I saw that they blacked out my picture a little bit on the screen. I saw it's fuzzy.
Well, they didn't have your name.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, awesome, big time celeb. I wanted to make sure we pointed that out.
I don't know how that.
For those of you that weren't at the stadium,
I don't know how that happened. Bob's the star of that show. Nobody came to see me. Nicole, thanks for having us in here. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna bring Spencer Holbrook in here for the second half of the show as Letterman Live rolls along at Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint.
And now with some early bowl predictions, Bobby Carpenter.
Well, Austin, what I'm seeing here is 12 lucky Roosters guests are getting the opportunity to travel to this year's Buckeye Bowl game. Each trip comes complete with 2 tickets, airfare, and hotel. One prize winner will be chosen each week. Guests need to register weekly at roosterswings.com.
That's great, Bobby. What I was asking was your prediction for the Buckeyes this bowl season.
I have no idea. I'm going to Roosters right now to register.
Precision engineering, rigorous attention to detail. A Bryant Evolution heating system is so well designed, it's as much of a joy to install as it is to use.
Good to go.
For the dealer nearest you, visit Bryant.com.
All right, welcome back into Letterman Live. Got Spencer Holbrook back in here. Spencer, did you have a Buckeye leaf that you wanted to give away?
Well, I was going to make it Kerry Coombs because, but I'm gonna stick on the defensive side.
Okay.
And I think you guys have given out a couple to linebackers. I'm gonna give mine to Tommy Eichenberg. This is a guy who took a lot of heat at the beginning of the season. And some of it might have been justified. He wasn't playing very well. And since then, he's started to come on, started to emerge, and become a true difference maker at linebacker. I think he's going to get there by the end of the year. And to have 7 tackles and to have 3 different linebackers, all with 7 tackles, shows the improvement that this team is making on the defensive side, and it shows how much improvement the linebackers have shown. And I think Tommy Eichenberg's a big part of that. And for that, I was a little critical of him at the beginning of the season. I think we all were. But to keep going and just keep pushing yourself and getting there now with 7 tackles in a Big Ten game, I think that just means that it's just going to continue to progress up for him.
Those things that we've talked about now, bringing up Cody Simon, Taraji Mitchell, Eichenberg there, Steele Chambers. Look, I mean, if there was one unit that we talked about that was the biggest question mark, it was linebacker. And then the first couple of weeks made that worse. You'd think, you look at Al Washington and like, all right, are they going to get this figured out? That's the most improved unit now. I don't think there's any question.
You had guys in
about
portals and guys walking off the field, and now we're sitting here saying we're pretty good at linebacker. Isn't that crazy?
It's pretty wild how that's transpired since August. Going into this bye week, now we're at the middle point of the season for Ohio State. You two know that some of the off date is about getting healthy, and some of it is
Party.
Staying out of trouble.
Wait,
Nothing good happens past 10.
thought it was about the parties.
Well,
Come for the parties?
we're on air. We talk
All
about
right.
that often.
That's good. That's good. Hey,
so that's
listen,
part of
man.
it. Like you get the marching
yeah.
orders. I know that Tressel would have some winner's manual tips for you guys, and times
No
maybe
doubt.
changed a little bit. How does a team structure, manage an off date like this?
So they're getting out of here on Thursday. Tress used to always make us stay in a practice on Friday.
Yeah,
It was
we'd always have
terrible.
Friday, but they would always try and let us out, so you had time. If you lived
You get to your
within,
high- like
if you lived
2
within
hours.
2 or 2.5 hours, you get home to watch the high school.
Yeah, I
play.
mean, they try to cut us off by like 3:30, 4 o'clock, so you get back, which is great because that's the one time you get a chance to go back. Maybe you get to see your old coaches, some of your friends that might still be playing. You maybe have a younger sibling, your brother that might be out there. So it's always nice if you live, within the state of Ohio or maybe Pittsburgh or Indy or something like
Yeah,
that.
you can get
You're
home.
in Michigan, you can maybe get back there, be able to do it. I believe they're done Thursday, and they have like since they're on semesters, they have like the little fall break. So I think they don't have school Thursday, Friday, maybe even Wednesday. I don't
Oh
know.
boy.
So yeah, they're going to cut them loose Thursday. So, it's how do you structure, kind of the party before like going out Wednesday night, to make sure
You're
that
definitely
everybody's-
getting 4 kegs on Wednesday night, right?
Oh yeah, you're
Is
going to
that-
get after it. All the other students
It's
will be
not
the
even
last
there
night
anymore.
there. Really go out, explore. Like that's the
You
camaraderie.
get to see what campus is all about during
Yeah.
the week.
Team building.
The team building. Get those guys together. Stay together.
The all brothers team. Remember that one,
Yeah,
Bob?
Exactly. That's why that was in my mind.
We had an all brothers team one week.
That was my senior
yeah,
year.
your senior year.
Brought everybody out. Like we got
It was
everybody.
like during camp, I think. It was like
it was our bye week.
Was it our bye week?
It was the Thursday night.
It was. We had the whole. Everybody.
Because I
was
wrote it down on the whiteboard in the middle of the locker room. Right
We named
there.
everybody that was there.
Yeah.
It was all
I
brothers.
mean, you got
team.
like a bonus point you got a Buckeye leave for attendance.
What made Brothers the spot for that team?
I don't know.
That's just where it happened.
Getting guys downtown was someplace that everybody could kind of agree on, and there was probably like 30 guys.
Oh,
it was the older guys that all went out, but it was good. Like it was a great little like team building
team
experience.
bonding.
So
Yeah.
do you guys get in there? Is there like a whiteboard in the back of Brothers that I don't know about?
Well, no, it was in the locker room. So we had the All Brothers team in the locker
Oh
room.
yeah, that's a trust. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about
You don't
it.
want to know.
You talk about dude-on-dude accountability.
Yeah.
That's it.
No
That's
one
where
guy
it
was like-
started.
It's like, did everyone go out? I'm like, did anyone get in trouble? No.
Yeah.
Made sure, hey, get in the car, leave, get in the cab,
You
get
take
out
a
of
taxi
here.
home.
Yeah, and everyone was good. Get up, make sure you're going to class, go to practice.
Everybody played that next week.
Yeah, we'll get out of here.
No arrests.
Yeah, I mean, it was all good. Like, and that's what's big into that is when you guys go out. I'm like, encourage you guys go out together, take care of your teammates, make sure that they don't do anything foolish because you might be in a bad state of mind and get over emotional and get worked up about something. Like, that's what one of your teammates is there for.
He's there
kind of
to
help you make a better decision. And so as you're sitting in the cab heading home, like, yeah, thank you for not allowing me to like irreparably
Feel much
change
better
my
in the
life.
morning
Yeah.
than
When I
if it
think
would have
about
went down.
when like the police officer's telling me I can't cross this side of the street and I have to go to this side, and you choose like, no, I'm going to fight
You
this
choose
guy.
violence instead of
violence.
listening. Yeah.
Go full Cersei Lannister. I choose violence, and it's like next thing you know, there's a nice TV. There's the chest cam of you getting tased,
Oh,
like
yeah.
fighting on the police officer on the ground. I mean, we don't need that. Like, just go home. We had a great time. Like, let's call it a day.
You know, bye weeks used to really, look forward to an opportunity. Maybe go, relax as I cover a team. Tennessee, boy, there was no such thing.
Oh, yeah, not on a bye
bye
week, huh?
week. That was the busiest time of the year. It's been pretty nice at Ohio State.
Get on your CB and just listen to the
Yeah, you
police
got
blotter.
the police radio going.
Oh boy, yeah.
got
they
volunteers in trouble.
just held up a gas station on campus. All right.
They needed to get some gas to get home.
3 a.m. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. 4 volunteers in the parking lot there.
Oh,
Okay,
boy.
great. Well, that's cool. I haven't had to worry about that as much on Ohio State. We'll just knock on wood for the
Yes.
bye week. But I was kind of, winking and nudging and joking about that. But you guys have been through these wars and the battles. But the brotherhood can't just be solely about being in the Woody and training camp and all that. I'm sure that there is some element of the guys that you want to go out with. You be in that situation that it carries over.
And part of it is too, like a lot of these guys fly back, to the West Coast now, and not all of them do. We got kind of a national team, but the Ohio guys, like, hey, if you couldn't get back, it was kind of expensive, or if hey, I didn't want to spend, 25 to 30% of my bye week in an airport or on a
exactly,
plane.
yeah.
You want to come back, like,
Yeah, you
come
come
back
hang
to my
out with
house?
us,
Yeah,
yeah.
come back to my house. Come back, see meet my parents, go to a game. Go out with some of my friends in high school, whatever it is. And like that's part of it as well, is like building those relationships and that trust. I know Jay-Z, same thing. Like you kind of reach out the hand. You're going to go back. You went to Texas or Florida, wherever it might be. Those flights are expensive, and it's just part of it too. Is do you really want to, spend
for
that
us,
time?
it's like you got off on Friday. So it's like you're going to the airport Friday night. You're going to spend a day, and then you're coming back the next, on Sunday morning, for flights. But, I think as players, you always look for that time off. We always love noon games. Why? Because we had from 4 o'clock the rest of that night off, to spend time with our friends or hang out and just be away and kind of decompress, from everything that's going on that week. So, the bye week helps with that, kind of recenter yourself, just take a step back. You have some, I don't want to say shorter practices because you're going to get after it a little bit here this week knowing you don't have a game. But, Thursday comes, man, that's a good day.
Spencer's using his bye week to get his wisdom teeth out.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So got some. If you have any cool stories about
No,
surgeries,
I don't want.
I had my wisdom teeth out.
Listen,
Why did
here's
we
my-
wait till now?
Here's my theory on this. If you had a good experience getting your wisdom teeth out, and I am any bit worse, I'm gonna feel like I'm dying. If you have a bad experience with them, then I'm gonna be scared to death. And
I had a great
even if it's better for me, then I'll still think that I'm dying. So I would just rather not hear anything about
So
it.
you're a huge sissy.
Yeah, basically.
Some might say.
I'd say.
Well, have you ever had a real surgery?
Have you never been under?
Oh, remember
Oh.
when we had the conversation about how I said the standard off-season surgery, and you got mad
Oh
at me
yeah,
about
because
that?
I said, what is standard? Standard is a surgery that someone's never had before.
Exactly.
Anybody else's?
I have my wisdom teeth in, and I'm
Oh,
good.
you have yours
Yeah,
still, huh?
they're rocking in there. They
I
said
had
good.
mine out.
When I go to the dentist, my hygienist complains every time that she has 4 more teeth to clean. I said, too
Ooh.
bad.
Deal with
You're
it.
getting your
Yeah,
money's
you're
worth
charging
there.
me more?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
The standard is the standard.
Standard is the standard.
that's-
And my body was plenty wise enough to be able to handle the wisdom teeth. So
Most of us can't handle the amount of wisdom that's in that brain.
no,
I couldn't.
so they're going to stay firmly inserted in there. So Chives, I don't know why you waited
Good luck.
till after college. You should have probably got those plucked in high school. As you get older, surgery recovery only is worse.
worse.
So I'm going to be honest.
My
with you
knee
about
is
that.
just now getting back. That was 4 months ago.
It's just bad. Like as you get older, your body. Like my daughter had a tumor cut out of her stomach when she was 3 years old, and is like 3 days later walking around picking up Easter eggs. Like they're like an adult would lay in bed for 2 weeks with that.
I'm not
like,
getting out for 3 months after that.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. So like when you're a kid, you bounce back. Like all of a sudden you start like 20, then 30, and then 40. Like,
So anyways, hope we see you next Monday.
Yeah.
Guy.
It's going to be an interesting week. So before we let Jay-Z go about his day, he's a busy man.
I'm heading to the village.
I know. Well, okay.
you're playing golf?
Yeah.
That's what we're getting.
The village, though.
I should have
It's
known.
different.
I know what
Thanks,
the village is.
thanks
Yes,
for the
it's
invite.
different.
I knew that polo looked familiar. That's a golf polo.
Yes,
Right there.
it's a golf polo.
What do each of you guys need to see from this team? What do they need to accomplish during the bye week?
I think a lot of it's going to be, for me, just they're pretty healthy right now. But, you've got like Cody Simon nicked up a little bit.
Haskell Garrett at the top.
Haskell, the Rascal. You got some of these guys. CJ, like, here's the thing. He played, but he was just out. Like, another week of rest wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for him. So clean up what you need to clean up. Stay healthy because you're going to have the big push, man. Like, this is going to be a serious march. Assuming these teams are as good as what we think, and I still think Ohio State is significantly more talented than the other ranked teams in the Big Ten. But you're going to be talking about, a Penn State team at night, a Michigan State team going to Michigan. Like, there's
It's going to be a heck of a stretch.
This is not going
November
to be,
is not for pretenders.
Yeah,
You got to bring it.
There's going to the back half of these final 6 games, 3 of them are going to be really, really legit. So there's going to be, and some of them are back to back, and so you've got to get prepared mentally for what that's going to be, because it's not like, hey, we won a game, we can relax. No, you won a game, time to get cranking again. And then, by the way, assuming that Iowa wins out, you'll probably be playing a top 2, 3, 4 Iowa team that'll be ranked. So you talk about Michigan State, Michigan, Iowa, potentially like
Boom, boom, boom.
that's pretty rapid.
The physical stretch right there.
Yeah, that is.
And an improving, as Spencer would be quick to point out, I'll take the words out of his mouth, an improving Nebraska team that they don't know how to put away close games.
No,
and
but they're always in them.
and
They've
Scott
been
Frost
in them.
May never will, but he's at least putting them in them, and they absolutely should have won that game on Saturday night, but they didn't. So instead, the hype machine will roll along for Michigan. Jay-Z, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I just think, a bye week is all about getting anybody that has any nicks healthy, getting them some time to rest. I think CJ, with that shoulder, maybe you just give him the week off because it worked really, really well. The 1 week he took off. He came back, looking amazing. So I let that shoulder rest a little bit, but, you just got to get these guys who are nicked up healthy and give them rest. And really, gosh, our offense scored every time they had the ball last week that they wanted to. And there's really not much to say, hey, we got to do better here, because it looks like they're running on all cylinders right now. Yeah.
I would say complacency. I think right now with the way
if they
get
complacent, no, I'm saying that
I'm
saying like they need to make sure that they're not getting complacent. You get a week off, you get a little bit of relaxation time. You're starting to feel pretty good about the direction you're heading. Penn State just took a loss. You've got teams around the country at the top of the board losing games. Alabama just lost, and their Ohio State is starting to feel like they peaked. Like this is not.
What?
I'm not
just message these guys some of the comments from after Oregon and Tulsa, and that complacency will erode real quick.
I completely agree. I just
remember what they were saying about you then.
That off week comes.
It was 4 weeks.
Spencer
ago.
has to read all of it. He knows what to send.
The off week comes at the perfect time for this team, but there's really when you start to get rolling, I'm assuming there's at least a little part of at least the coaching staff. It's like we wish we could keep this thing going,
right? And
so I think that. Not that they would get complacent because they know what a loss feels like already this season, but at the same time, you don't want to lose any of that big time momentum that you're starting to build there heading into this really big stretch of the season.
Yeah, and you mentioned some of those names. Because they want to get you're going to want Haskell Garrett for these big games. Tyreek Smith has missed the last 3 weeks. He went through pregame warmups, so he's close to a return. Cam Brown picks up yet another one with a shot to the head on Saturday. Can't catch a break. He's been Achilles, then knee. And now probably can
knee to the head.
Ice the brain. Ice your head.
Whatever you have to do.
Hydrate.
That's three guys. Been your
Mayan Williams. Where the heck's he been?
Yeah, Mayan Williams.
My guy.
Time now with that undisclosed injury for him. Although any of that stuff on the offensive side, there Munford played. He's been dealing with a foot injury. He's going to obviously keep going as much as possible. But you saw him being in pain on Saturday. These guys, there are 5, 6 guys who are key contributors who Ohio State still hasn't seen the best out of them yet.
Yeah.
So you get that break. Doesn't matter for us. We're just going to enjoy another version of Letterman Live at Roosters, whether it's an off date or not. We'll be back next week to preview Indiana.
Ooh,
we'll have Nicole making that pick against the spread, as she always does. we'll be welcoming back Berm, I hope, and Spencer Holbrook, Jay-Z, Bobby Carpenter. I'm Austin Ward. We appreciate you guys watching us. You can subscribe to the On3 network and get Lettermen Row. All of our coverage there right now, $10 for an entire year. It's a great deal.
Great deal.
And you can come in here for an even better deal, which is $2 appetizer
$2
Tuesday.
Appetizer Tuesday.
Don't miss it. I'm not sure what your location might have.
It's $2.
Jay-Z's eating all the mushrooms here,
All
so
of
probably
them.
won't be
Nom,
here.
nom, nom, nom.
But we will see you right back here next week for Letterman Live, which is brought to you by Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint.